Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Sistas Perspective. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so glad you're here with us this evening, and we are looking forward to chatting with you tonight about relationships part three, backed by popular demand from our last segment on relationships. We will continue that tonight looking at familial relationships. So please go ahead and share this live stream with someone else, invite them into the conversation as we jump into a little more thoughts and strategies and whatever conversation around relationships as it pertains um, to our lives and who we are in relationships with. All right, well, sisters, let's just go around and do a quick check in. As always, it has been an amazing week of things. I first would like to just stop and pause and acknowledge that we've had another mass shooting, and it is just terrible that 3 9-year-olds and three teachers have been senselessly murdered. And I just feel like we should just recognize whatever is happening in our country that continues to fuel these types of situations. Not sure what else to say about that other than it happened again and it's unfortunate. And as a society, we absolutely have to do something about it.
But will they? It happens and changes. We talk about it on the news, and then everybody forgets about it until it happens again. So it's tiring. I
You
don't know
muted,
how.
Lori. Yeah.
I
You were saying
totally
something?
agree with you. Yeah, I said I totally agree with you. They do just forget it. It's in the headlines for a minute, and they have their vigils and things like that, and then it's forgotten in a matter. It used to be like a matter of years, but now it's just a matter of months, and
If
they
that.
life keeps moving on. Yeah, if that. But yeah, something does need to be done. Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on that, but we won't. That's a part of sometimes what will cause the breakdown in a relationship. Differences with regards to some of these issues.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that later.
hmm I just wonder what made schools like the hot spot. Like, yeah, let's go and shoot up children. Like, what made that become the place to take out the anger and the aggression or whatever it is? Why?
Yeah,
Why so
Because
often in schools?
and it's
as I
bothersome because it's like innocent lives that you're talking about. You're talking about children who have not even, gotten big enough to do anything in life, and you're just taking innocence. And even with teachers, you're taking the people who are in charge of the future, in charge of these babies. And and if you think it doesn't have an effect, it does, so much so because the kids hear about it and they are frightened, and every time we have a drill or anything like that, they are thinking of it, and some of them start crying during drills. So as a teacher, it does affect me big
Yeah,
time.
I would
it
say
impacts.
um they choose school locations because that's the way to get everybody's attention. It wouldn't get much attention if they did it on the street or in the mall. It will get some attention, but when you go to a school, you're trying to get attention, which is usually what these mass killers want. They don't care about dying themselves. They want to die and feel like I'm a legend. I did something big. That's kind of the mentality behind a lot of these shooters, because they weren't very popular in real life. They were loners. And so if you're going to get some attention, that's where you're going to go. That's where you get the biggest bang for your buck, for lack of a better phrase.
Okay, I hear that.
So basically, kind of tied in with some mental health issues, huh?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hand in hand.
Yeah. And it produces mental health issues for the teachers and students that are there. Like,
Yeah.
how do I continue to learn in a setting like this? If I am fearful and I'm crying, basically, mom, dad, y'all come on and pick me up. We had a drill today and I'm done for the day. Like, I've exhausted all my mental capacity for the day just by a drill. And so it's a bad situation,
And not
unfortunately.
to and even glossing over teachers. I mean, we have families as well. And
Yes.
we want to get back home to our own families. We didn't sign up for um, police pay and all that kind of stuff, because police know what they're dealing with when they go into becoming a police officer. When you're going into becoming a teacher, you have a different frame of mind.
Yeah.
Okay, it's all about education. We did not even think we were going to be, uh, fighting for our lives.
Absolutely. Maybe this will be a topic of another show, just to look at some of these things and spend a little time talking about that. But just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge that today before we moved into our show for today. Um, and I see folks are coming into the conversation. Thank y'all for joining us. We will be talking again, relationships part 3, where we will focus on family, familial types of relationships. And so, love to have your questions and comments in the chat box area. So, go ahead and start putting in questions that you might have. I'm checking in for me today. I am on the road again. As you can tell, it looks like I'm somewhere that is not my home. I'm actually in a conference room of a hotel in Florida somewhere. And I just kind of ducked out of a last session to come on and do this show. And I'm sleepy. I'm be honest with everybody. I'm so sleepy. I did not get in until like 2:30, and I had to be up at 6 o'clock. And we've been going since 6 o'clock this morning. So after this, I'm gonna find some food and then I'm gonna sleep. Just gonna sleep. So it's been a long day, but before that, it's been a great week on my campus. We had some really nice things happening. Our gospel choir did their concert yesterday, Coastal Inspirational Ambassador. Shout out to them. I'm their advisor, their campus advisor. We had a great time. Just old school churching it up with some gospel music. So it's been a great week. My daughter had a birthday. She is now 15 years old, and I just shake my head when I look at that, because I don't have any babies anymore. But it's okay. I had to speak at a women's empowerment luncheon on Friday, and y'all listen. I tried my best. Those of y'all who know me, I tried my best not to preach on the stage because it was like hundreds of women, and it was a campus event, and so I was trying my best not to preach and talk in tongues, and I did a good job. Because I know I be picking at my sister sometimes about like always got to preach, but listen, it is really difficult sometimes to I had to talk to them about living, like life, live fully. And I just kept wanting to go to scriptures like the Bible says, and I had to keep saying, wait a minute, you are at a church. This is not a church function. The Bible says you shall have life and life more abundantly. Wait, pull it back. This is not the right place or time. And so I did a good job. I really did do a good job. But when I sat down, I texted my vice president. I was like, all I needed was an organ. Y'all, I just need somebody with an organ in the background. And we would have really turned this campus event out for some church. So, but we had a good time and it all went well. So it's been, as you can see, a very busy week for me. I am happy to see my sisters and to just spend some time with them today. And hopefully they will keep me awake for the next 45 minutes on this line. Somebody else check in. How y'all doing?
We can't promise we'll keep you awake. We'll try.
Yeah, that's a hard job.
Wow. Check in this week. Life is great. I had a busy weekend. Well, Giselle had a busy weekend, and since I'm the parent, she dragged me around with her. She had two performances this weekend, one on Friday night where she danced, um, and then one on Saturday where she sung and she danced. And then, Sunday was church. So I'm a little tired myself too, but I'm here and I had a great week. I went on a date this weekend.
What?
I know,
Do
I know, I know. I'll give you that guys the details later. We'll leave Facebook alone. But yeah, I had fun. I want to get myself in these single shoes. So that's my update.
Go on and live, girl. Live your life. Amen.
Oh my God. I guess I'll check in next.
Yeah.
I am pushing through. This past week was a really eventful week, and basically, I definitely kept busy. There was a lot to get done, and I'm in that kind of midst at work of different trainings you need to hurry up and get done, and different plans you have to make sure that they are finished and done and submitted and all that good stuff. And so, but I'm one thing after another, I'm getting it done, and just managing time, and also enjoying March Madness. And even though my big sister does not like Miami, I am so happy that Miami and Florida Atlantic made it into the Final Four. That's two Florida schools. And so excited about that. But definitely, I also am thanking God for his goodness and just keeping me, even in the midst of everything. Because in the midst of everything, even in the previous thing we talked about, I know God is a keeper and he'll keep me. And that's one thing I'm not, back down toward anything. I know God is keeping me. And it's so funny because I was laughing with someone earlier. When the old people used to say, I just thank God for health, strength, and a right mind. I'm like, I really feel that way now. Health and strength and in my right mind. I'm like, yes, because it becomes so important. And you just don't take things for granted. So that's my check-in. Back at you.
Okay. I'll go next.
Whoa.
It was good.
It didn't sound like it.
Really?
Yeah, Tracy, I agree. It hits differently now. I always say that. And it's the right mind part that get me.
Right mind.
Come on now. Come on.
Because it's so easy to not have your right mind, right?
Yeah.
Like the lady today that did what she did. Something ain't right. So I always thank God for that. But yeah, I had a pretty good weekend. I sung background for Fantasia Saturday night for her. They did a big music fest out at the fairgrounds, and to end her set, she always does Total Praise. And if you ever see her in concert, it's hard to describe it. She just has the Holy Ghost all over her, and she ain't singing necessarily, Christian songs, but it's just like, are we at a gospel concert or are we at the She's amazing though. She's fantastic. So she always ends her set with Total Praise. So they called us and asked if we could come and sing. And so I did that Saturday night, and it was so exciting. So I got to meet her. She's, of course, very nice and down to earth. But other than that, still going to dialysis and doing well. And just waiting for a call any day for my transplant. And I think that's my check-in. Normally, I forget to tell y'all the exciting news, but I try to make myself remember this week.
Well,
She does
yeah.
right. She's her energy is everything. Yeah.
I think of her as another Patti LaBelle. You know, it's
I'm
like
telling.
she is like another
I mean,
Patti LaBelle coming
she
in.
like you, Jam. How you was trying not to read the scriptures and do all that stuff, and that's how you could tell she be trying not to. That's how she be moving. I'm like, oh my God, does she have the Holy Ghost? Really? On the don't moment, then don't talk to me. I was like, what is it? What's happening? So
you can't take the church out. You can't do
you
it.
cannot, and that's what I was standing there. I said, "Ooh, that baby." And when she gets to total prayer, she gets on her knees in the position, and she apologized to the Lord. Hey, I'm sorry. I have this my time, and I mean tears and just the ugly cry. You know what I mean? And sing. You can tell she got something on the inside of her, but
It's like
you got to use your gift though. And so I love her because she uses her gift on whatever stage she on, but she ain't afraid to preach. Because the last time I saw her, she would preach to them people. You know what I mean? And she don't get too deep, and you don't ever have to be that deep. But she is anointed. She's very good.
Amen. All right. Love it. Love it. Hey, Lori, how you doing?
I agree with Charlotte. She is amazing. I did have the chance to see her in concert, so that was really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a great week once again, working plenty of overtime. But it was still a great week. Went to New Orleans this weekend with my youngest and her trio, and they took New Orleans NOLA Chamber Fest by storm. So they took first place, and so very proud of them. They were amazing, and they were like little rock stars there. Everybody was like, "Oh, we're so excited to meet you guys." I was like, "Okay, what is this? What's going on here? This got to be an orchestra thing." So.
Your face is frozen, Lori.
Frozen.
Oh, Betty Bob.
We'll come back. Oh, no.
Okay. Is everybody frozen? Oh.
No.
Oh, okay. Jan was just in the.
That's all right. No, because I was giving her a second. I was trying to give her a second to come back to us, but she'll come back.
She will.
And when she does, I know she wants to talk with us about what's going on in the sports world in terms of some of those things. But I know Sherry got it.
Yeah, Sherry, no, too.
Well, I'm not going to take her thunder. I know she'll be back in just a second. And I'm just glad she froze in a nice position because, you hate to see your eyes roll back in your head or your certain mouth.
That's horrible.
Y'all so bad. Y'all are horrible. Let's say, hey, we got some folks joining us. Hey, to Sister Tracy Wade, girl. Hey, Auntie Sharon. Good to see you. And Mom is on the line today. Hey, Mom. And I saw Nikki. How y'all doing? Thank y'all for joining us tonight. Nikki said she was beautifully frozen.
Exactly.
You're crazy. A big smile. Love it. Listen, as we said earlier, we're going to be talking about familial relationships, because we were talking last time about relationships falling apart, the demise or the fall of relationships and what that looks like, and how do you pick up the pieces, and how do you keep those relationships going strong, and looking for red flags. And we talked about a lot of different types of relationships, but we did not get the opportunity to talk about relationships and families and how you do that. And so we wanted to start there tonight and kind of talk about relationships and families. I know many of you on the line have strong families, family relationships with your siblings, your parents, which is something that I know we all believe is really important. Folks have often asked us, how do y'all keep y'all relationship going and, stay connected as sisters as well as we do. And in a family as large as ours with 10 children, mom and dad, how do you keep those kind of relationships going? And do y'all ever fall out with each other and get mad with each other? And all of those types of things. And so we want to just talk a little bit about some of that tonight, but just overall what that relationship what that means, what it looks like and how you deal with the struggles, how you come back, all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I want to just kind of start by first saying that from a biblical point, not preaching, but just sharing that families is an institution created by God. He established families, from the very beginning. And we have seen God move through families throughout the generations, um, from Adam and Eve to Noah to Moses, all the way down. God works through families. And so families are important, which is why I believe the enemy tries so hard to destroy family relationships, to come in between siblings and parents and to do those things to create division in families. And so the family unit is very important and very critical. What do y'all think, ladies?
I agree.
Me too.
Okay.
Oh,
I love it. I love it when they agree with me,
Yeah.
y'all. It really happens.
I added you, Lori.
oh, thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
I have no idea what happened, but yeah, the phone is the backup. So here I am on the phone.
It's all good.
Right.
We're glad to have you back, sis.
We are. Jam.
So happy to be back.
Oh, we missed you.
I'm gonna need both of y'all to get a grip.
Did you just ask us a question, Jam?
She asked if we agreed, but she didn't
Oh.
ask us any other.
Oh, okay.
We all agree.
agree. What's the first question?
I'm ready.
Well, I guess since y'all waiting on me, how do you navigate the changes that occur as you grow and mature? So your relationship with your siblings, maybe one way as a kid. How do you how do you how do you grow with that? I'll give you an example. When we were kids, I could tell Carolyn and Charlotte what to do, right? Like I'm their big sister. They have to listen to me. I can spank Carolyn, all of those things.
I'm sorry.
But as an adult, the relationship has definitely shifted and changed. And sometimes siblings may forget that. Like, I'm not no little kid anymore. You can't always tell me what to do, although I still do. You can't always tell me what to do.
She's
So
not
how
talking
do
about
you
me. She's talking about Carol.
navigate just the growth and changes and still maintain a relationship with your siblings as you grow and change?
Okay, so you don't navigate it the way that I did a little bit. I didn't have that problem with you guys because as you guys grew, I was just like, hey, this is so cool. They could be my friend now. And I was like,
Right.
and I loved that. Charlotte and the whole crew used to come up and see me in Tallahassee. I was like, yes. So we had so much fun. However, we have an older sibling that was actually a thorn in most of his sister's sides.
That girl said a thorn.
A thorn. Now, praise God for deliverance because he is so much better. But you don't navigate it that way because he thought he was everybody's daddy. And we were like looking at him like, no, that's not him. I still remember him and Sherry walking up to my apartment in Tallahassee. I was like, they gonna call the police. Y'all out here fussing. I mean, talking about like really arguing about the throwdown.
Sherry and Ed?
Sherry and
You're like,
Ed.
What? I can never.
I have neighbors. Can you all please?
Can you all please?
But yeah, you've got to be able to recognize that they are actually growing up. And Ed and I used to get into it, but we never really got into it because I'm just not that type of confrontational person
At all.
Now I can be.
Okay,
I
come on.
admit, I can be what's called nice, nasty.
Mm-hmm.
So I will ignore the heck out of you.
That's my.
I
And
will
do the
walk
opposite, whatever she wants.
Exactly.
I will sit there and listen to you go, mm-hmm, and turn around and do the exact opposite of what you just told me.
That is exactly the trait of the eldest. That's what Tracy said. Yeah, I do the same thing too. I'm not listening. Okay,
We're
whatever.
like, okay, mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And then do exactly what I want.
Yeah, that part. I
So,
don't
but
think
yeah,
we've had too much of that in our family. Well, not between the girls. Not that I can see anyway. I
Not
don't
between
know.
the girls, not between the
Yeah.
girls.
but with the
Yeah.
boys, it
Yeah,
has been an issue because they,
Um,
I've had a couple of run-ins with
yeah,
my brother right over me. We've had a couple of run-ins.
girl, well, we know that. Y'all, th-
We
we
had
know that.
we done
Y'all
about
like,
four too. But I just find staying out of people's business is
it's key.
it's key. I let them live their life. I don't be in their business. And
That's how you got to do it.
my phone's when you call me, I answer. You talk.
Nikki.
I think the big thing is though letting people mature and change, and then accepting them for who they are now, not what they
Mhm.
used to be when they were little, or not when they used to be like. Because everybody changes and
That's
matures,
true.
so you accept them for as they grow, and you grow with them, and you keep, I would say, in the music term, modulating with them
Mhm.
continually. That's a big thing because I tend to think of my relationships as uh, with friends, it can be seasonal because
Mhm.
sometimes God brings people in for a season and then, it kind of fades out.
To the
With
left.
family, yeah,
yeah,
with family, that's not seasonal. And it's
exactly.
like
They're
if you
there.
have an issue, one thing about I will say about our family is if we have an issue, we're gonna say what we think, we're gonna hash it out, and then we be fine later. But you be mad, but oh well, and you get back later. Um but you come back. And that's the thing is that when somebody has an issue or an offense, you deal with it and you deal with it and then you move on. You don't let stuff fester and sit and fester and sit.
True.
Yeah, you're saying something really important there because conflict is going to happen in any type of relationship, right? A marriage relationship, friendship, you and your best friend, your family. Conflict is going to happen. So, what are the strategies that we use to deal with that conflict is what's important to maintain that relationship. So, as we let people mature and grow and do what they do, and try to stay out of their business, as Carolyn said, right? But we do still have to interact and we are still family and we still love each other and want to be together. Conflict will happen. So what are the strategies you all think are best to deal with the conflict? Because listen, if we're honest, we see families who just like an argument about something simple blows up to where they don't even talk no more for 2 or 3 years. To me, that blows my mind. Like I don't understand
That's
I
crazy.
don't.
just and this is my perspective because that's not the way I've grown up and I've lived. Other people may have reasons of that. So I think that Tracy has a good question in there, and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But I think that it is important to talk about what are the strategies that work when you have those conflicts within the family. What do you think?
I think being able to see it from, well, first understanding that everyone does not think the same. Just because you believe that this is the path that someone should take or this is how it should be done, that is not necessarily how they're going to view it. And so you have to realize that they are different, they think differently, and also have empathy, view it from their eyes. Also, picture if someone, like if you had some type of conflict, how would you feel in that situation if, say, whatever was going on was happening to you? So you just have to kind of put yourself in the other person's shoes, as it's said so much. But yeah, that I think that normally helps um, to resolve some things and just see it from the other person's side, and then give them the space to be different. They don't have, and me, I'm that person that likes to kind of be outside the box. But and thank you guys
Yeah.
for letting me do that.
You're welcome, Betty Bob.
That was
Oh, I like that
I'm like,
emotional intelligence.
yeah, and I think, like I said, to the comment, Tracy, can familiar family be seasonal? And I don't know. I think we get that choice with friends and other people. The family is kind of not optional. You kind of stuck with these people for the rest of your life, you know. And I think what it is that you can't phase them out, but you can kind of like distance, put a little buffer maybe, or but with family, it's kind of like one of those things you've got to just hatch out. You got to hatch that thing out.
This
Well, when she
this is
said that, I thought that it actually, I'm thinking of a specific family right now. I think it can be seasonal because yes, they're still your family, but you can go seasons without talking to them because they on some other
right.
stuff now. And for my mental health, I can't have you involved in my life. I need to raise my kids, and I don't need to be
Yeah.
around right now. So I feel like it can be seasonal.
Yeah.
Get yourself together. We can have a decent conversation, but until that point comes, I'll see you in the summer. Okay.
Well, I get what you're saying. I'm saying that you know how you might phase a friend out. You can't
Right.
phase a family member out.
Yeah.
So what I
Yeah.
mean is like to put distance, and like you said, distance. I can't get
Right.
now,
Oh,
but they're always there. But I can't deal with you right now. You'll be all right.
Yeah, yes, they
Absolutely.
are.
Absolutely.
Cray,
And I
cray.
was Yeah. And I was going to add that some familial relationships there are, circumstances where you have to cut some people off, right? Like if it is an abusive relationship, there are times where they're family members, you like, they is nothing I say, no boundary I set, they're going to follow, they're going to always disrespect me. Oh, they just put me in the dark. You may have to cut off a relationship,
I can tell.
right? And so we're not saying that you never do, but to make sure that doesn't happen, what are the things we put in place to make sure we maintain relationships as much as we can?
Right. I agree with you, Jam. There are some situations with family that you actually do have to cut them off. Yes, they still may be your family, but you've got to cut them off, especially like in situations where there's a traumatic event such as abuse or anything like that. No. And like you said, Carolyn, for mental health aspect of it, you cannot be involved with them. So
That's right.
Yeah. Some families or some people in families when we say abuse, we often think of physical abuse, but I think mental abuse
Right.
is just as I've seen some kids grow up and cut their parents off because their parents are just completely narcissistic and nothing is their fault. It's just like, sake of me being a normal human being, I have to cut my mom off. Nobody wants to do that, but sometimes it is necessary. If that person is detrimental to your sanity, I mean, listen, I'm gonna cut off my arm before I have to lose everything else.
That's
Right.
Fantasia's
and
song. Yeah.
it doesn't mean you don't love them or anything. You still love them, and yes, they are still your family, but you have to, what does it say? It says to guard your heart. Okay, so you got to guard your heart.
That's true, Tracy. I am.
That is true. Really, Carolyn, we weren't talking
Really,
about
Carolyn?
you.
All right. We know that's
why
not
you
true. Listen, this is good conversation. Oh, Mom, I am fine. I'm in a conference room. The door's closed. I'm the only person in this conference room, so the light just
She
decided
nervous?
to shut off. Yeah, she's like, be careful in the dark areas alone. I'm not alone. I'm okay. We're fine. Everything's good. Yes, we love our families. We want them in our lives. There are occasions that we have to do what we have to do. Let me ask this other question. Sometimes we take family for granted. I think we all can agree with that. Why is it that sometimes we treat our friends better than we treat our family?
Right.
Oh,
You know, I have
Yeah,
had
just feel
that
like that.
conversation with my girls as they were coming up because it was like they treat their sister like trash and their friends come over and they're like just the best friend ever. I'm like, what is going on here? This is your sister.
wow.
I,
But
I brought it
and
up because the same thing happened with my daughters, and I'm like, wait a minute, your sister asked you the same question, and you had an attitude with her, and your friend asked you, and you like, yes, you can have anything you want. Sure, wear my shirt, and you wear my jacket, and I was like, well, wait a minute, we got to talk about this
We do.
relationship dynamic. What's
yeah,
happening? Go
Because
ahead, Lori.
I don't know.
but you're right. Yeah, the same thing would happen here, and now all of them are just tight as all can be. But when they were coming up, there was some different dynamic there. It was like the friend was more important. And I think it's more so because they're like in those earlier times, you're sort of finding yourself and you want to, it sort of impress the friend because you want them to remain your friend. And the family member, you're like, well, shoot, that's going to always be my friend.
Exactly.
So I don't
Yeah.
have to impress her and I don't have to do this for her. But the friends, you want them to stay. So you do all of this extra stuff. And I'm like, that's not really the way it should be. But
I don't have that problem. That's never happened to me. That's so I'm like, what? Yeah, no, I can't identify. I have to take myself out of this conversation.
No comment to
yeah,
her.
Whatever, damn.
yeah, we're going to
You
let
know
that go.
it's the truth.
Do I? Do I know?
You jam.
Do I?
Don't play. Don't do
So anyway, sometimes family relationships can be impacted by that idea of taking folks for granted, which is why I brought that up. So like if I consistently take Sherry for granted and just expect her to do everything I ask her to do, all of those things, that puts strain on a relationship. And so I think the way we treat one another has a lot to do with how our relationships are maintained, right? If we never tell people how we feel about them, if we never do a kind act or something generous for them, if it always is just take, 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 that puts a strain on the relationship. And so I think as we talk about family relationships, it's important to show people, even in your family, how much they're valued, because we will take them for granted, just like they're gonna always be there no matter what. So I
yeah.
can spend all my time and energy and money and love on my friends, and my family just takes whatever is left over. Saying all that to say we have to be intentional about the relationships. Although we were born into this same family, that relationship can be severed, it can be damaged. And so we have to be intentional about spending time with your siblings. I know that since Tracy's on the line, I know that her and her siblings, they are intentional about spending time together, whether that's through a Zoom call, a phone call, whatever. They're intentional about spending time together. I know our family does the same thing. We try to maintain our Zoom monthly meetings. Those that are there in Florida have that fourth Sunday dinner at mom's house. But even through the week, just making sure that you're intentional about doing things, talking to each other, so that you can maintain those relationships. That is so important.
That is very important.
Yeah. And I think sometimes too, we can sort of, I guess, get into a habit of more so women than men as far as how we let ourselves be taken advantage of, because sometimes we don't always speak up, especially as moms. I know as moms it happens when the kids need this and that and you're always doing for them, put yourself last, and then it all of a sudden becomes where, oh, the whole entire family, your family expects you just to go ahead and do this. Well, your mom, so do this is what you're supposed to do. And then you have to set the record straight and be like, well, excuse me, I'm not your maid, I'm not your, you get
Mhm.
frustrated, you snap. But if you kind of take care of some little things along the way and
Right.
basically show them how you would like to be treated or voice how you would like to be treated, once you see things happen, it's good to be proactive. of course, yes, learn that through parenting because, yeah, your kids can go a little haywire, not just siblings, but children as well. But yeah.
Right. Because talk about family. You have mom and daughter relationships and father daughter relationships. All of that is a part of this idea of familiar relationships and how to maintain them, cultivate them, keep them growing, um, and just work on them as you mature. All right. So when you have the fight or the argument or the heated discussion, whatever you want to call it, with your family member, how do y'all make up? What do you do? Are you the
None.
one who just remains silent, or are you the one who's like, I'm gonna be the bigger person and reach out, or do y'all just don't talk for weeks and months?
I don't know
I
because
ain't,
that's never happened.
Yeah, that's never happened.
it's happened with me. I ain't no bigger person. I'm Thumbelina. I'm gonna be
That girl's
small.
stupid.
Lord.
I keep quiet to myself, and then honestly, you just move past it eventually. It's not even something that needs to be addressed.
Right. You just go
Uh,
eat dinner together.
you eat dinner together, and it's fine. It's cool. It is what it was. We got in that fight. We still don't agree, but it's over because you can't beat me. But but yeah, it to
Hmm.
me, it's never been the kind of fight that just has to keep on going.
Right.
We don't eye to eye on that issue, and we probably never will. So we had our little spat. Now we finna go eat dinner at mama house, and it's fine. We don't feel no type of way
I
about it.
think
You
that I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
I think that's what a lot of people are missing, and even in politics today, um,
Mm-hmm.
which is Donald Trump inspired, is that
Oh God.
but people don't understand how to agree to
Dis-
disagree. It's
exactly.
okay for you to have your opinion. It's okay for me to have my opinion and to not agree with you and be okay with that. You're still a good person. You're still a wonderful person. You're still my brother, my sister. But you don't have to think just like me. It's I can agree to disagree. It's okay. And I think that we just gotten in this frame of mind where I just got to be right. This is my truth, and I got to make you see it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
look, it might be your truth, but I'm gonna need you to back up and give me some space. Be all right with me having my opinion,
Exactly.
and let's move on from it. Because maybe we have some more other things in common. We probably have more in common than we have that we disagree about. So let's focus on those things and get over it.
The biggest disagreement that I've had with my family is the chocolate cake versus yellow cake argument. Look at everybody's face
Let's not
because they already know.
let's not do this in
We're
front
not
of
we're not
everybody.
doing it today. Tracy's comment is right on. Like there are times where you have
Oh damn.
All right, where you have had our moment, we always need a moment, but we circle around eventually and have the conversation.
Mhm.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think it's important to have the conversation because sometimes you have to address things.
sometimes you do.
Sometimes you
You do.
do.
Yeah,
Sometimes because if you let some stuff fester, it those little foxes spoil the vine. So you
Yep.
have to really, just like even in a marriage, you got to address smaller things so they don't grow into being bigger things.
right.
Right.
I don't want to ever have I need to address it. I am one of those people when I was younger, I didn't address it, and then something would happen, I would blow slap up. And you can't do that. You've got to address it
And
when it happens, or either give it some space and come back to it, but to definitely address the offense.
and now addressing our parents. That's good, but there is a way to do that as well. But for one, I don't believe in being disrespectful. But so if there would have been any type of familiar relationship, it maybe with mom, I have probably lost or said some stuff out of order, and my husband was the one who checked me because he don't believe in disrespecting your parents, and he was like, "You probably shouldn't have said that. That wasn't." in line, and I can't even remember what it was or anything, but I could just remember that happening. And so I feel like you can address them, but of course you got to always be respectful and remember not to cross that line.
And remember, and yeah, and with us, you have to remember how to bob and weave real quick because you might get something thrown at you.
You might.
You was wrong for that.
You right. Mama like to throw books and spoons and all kind of stuff, and hit you in your back. Hey. Michael said, "Get the Holy Ghost in your back."
Y'all so silly. Y'all so silly.
Yeah, that's your bro-in-law. He's silly.
I have a question. So, do you think that parents deserve respect no matter what? Like, no matter what type of parent they've been, do you think that they deserve respect no matter what?
I do.
A lot of people.
If they try to sell you on the black market, no.
This question is coming from the fact that I hear on a daily basis a lot of teachers tell kids, that's an adult, you need to respect them, when the adult is really disrespecting the kids. But all they tell the kid is, that's an adult, you can't talk to an adult like that. And I really so now I want to ask the question, parents, you think that no matter what, you have to respect your parent?
I don't know, because that adult didn't give birth to you, so.
Oh yeah, I ain't studying no adult, but my parent, the actual one that birthed me, oh God, that's hard, girl, because you're right. I mean, but yeah, I do think that you should give respect to, because you want your days to be long on the earth, and so no matter what they did to you or what they said or did it, you be respectful. That we don't never have to get down. We don't ever have to get down on somebody else's level and be as trashy or whatever to them as they are to us. We don't ever have to do that. We have a choice to always take the high road. You may not want to, but that's just my opinion. I think that you should, with your parents at least. Other adults, whatever. See me in the street.
You also have the you're right, Charlotte. So we should go ahead and respect them, but that doesn't mean we have to deal with them. Like I said earlier, in those cases of abuse, you can cut them off. And the Bible tells parents not to provoke their children. Don't do things intentionally that are going to go ahead and have them, in an uproar or anything like that. So the Bible gives parents instructions as well. But yes, we'll abide by what it tells us and respect them as the parent. But that does not mean, just like in other situations, if they're not in line with God, then we don't necessarily have to be in line with them. So we can distance ourselves from them, cut them off.
Yeah. And that's probably better than being disrespectful and going through all that. Just distance yourself and go on. Yes. Lord help us. Tracy making some good comments though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you have to have that heart to heart.
Yeah.
Just be real.
You do. Yeah. And I agree that there has to be some level of respect. So we may not be best friends. I respect that you gave me birth, and you gave me a place to live or whatever may have happened. And that can be that. We may not ever have that best friend relationship, but we can, respectfully keep our distance from one another. Sometimes people don't, when we think about respect, it means we got to love you all of the time. Like, I can show you respect just by not bad mouthing you to your grandchildren. I can be respectful just by, by not cursing you out, right? I could just, those are ways, because out of respect for you, I'm going to treat you like this, So we do have to be careful about that relationship, and how we choose to honor that in whatever way it is.
Mama said you better be her friend, Jam.
I am your friend, Mom.
So does this apply to step parent?
We're friends now, but I
think so, because I'm a stepmom.
Good.
But I agree with you too, Tracy. I try not to use a certain tone with my stepson either. And I try not to say stepson because he my son. So he lived with me. I fed him. I raised him. I did everything for him. So he my son. So yeah, there was a certain tone that I tried not to use. But yeah, that's definitely, you can't live in my house and be disrespectful. Or he knew he was gonna be sleeping on the street. So there wasn't even no question. We was good and we still are.
I
That's
think
my
that
boo.
the I think that that situation, the step parent one, is one that our family has always handled a little differently, and so people have. I mean, so our viewpoint about that might be a little different. So, like family, and there's mom and there's dad. My technology in this conference room is acting crazy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But go ahead. What
But
point?
you're right. Our situation is different. We're just all family. There
Yeah.
has been not much of a difference. Margaret would have told you that you feed them long enough, they start looking like you. So,
Okay.
and people tell me all the time, and I bust out laughing. Well, y'all tell me I act just like mom, and then people tell me, "Oh, you look just like your mom." And technically, we're not even related, but that is my mom.
You do
You
have
know,
OCD like her.
be quiet.
Ah. How is different?
How is it different with
Yeah,
step parents? Because
Oh,
I can't really answer that question because I have a lot of kids that I know that do not like their step parents. But here's the issue: the step parent has come into the house and married their mom or their dad and have created their own children, and so now they don't treat the original child like they treat their own
uh,
children, other parents,
oh,
and they are going back and forth and they're going head to head, and it's hard to tell that student that you need to be respectful to them, even though they are
yeah,
living in their house, they are helping their mom pay the bills, but at the same time, they really they don't like you. They don't, and they make it clear that they don't like you, and they can't wait until you move out. And
that's
so it's
just
hard.
rude. Yeah, that's that tone that Tracy was talking about.
That's real life.
That's
Yeah.
not that's not tone. That's straight out.
I mean,
Yeah,
that
that's
is too, and that's rude. You don't talk to people like that.
her all the time,
Well,
all the time.
no.
it is difficult. Yeah, Tracy's saying it's difficult when you see the division. Go ahead, Sherry.
I think too of an insight because I'm a step parent and I am
Hmm.
a stepchild. So I know one thing is that a lot of people mess up is that when you marry someone, you marry them and the child. And that's what a lot of people mess up and not understand. You marry them with the child. That child's a part of them. So if you love them, you love that kid. And when you sit there and pull, you're actually, pulling a kid apart. And I also too have an issue with parents who let the step parent do that kind of foolishness. That you need to be striking a balance in your relationship. You need to be setting boundaries before
Mhm.
you get married of how they're going to be set
Exactly.
up and how they're going to be treated and what we want to raise them like. Not all of a sudden I can have an attitude and they're not family anymore. No, you don't get that option. And I think that's what people don't realize is that you don't get that option. When you said
Hmm.
you love me, you need to love all of me. And that
Hmm.
means the kid that came with me. Or, so that is a thing that as a step kid and as a step parent, I think that the parent has neglected to set it up right before they even get married.
Because the
Yep.
parent just wants somebody to help her pay her bills.
Having a
To
blended
me,
family is difficult. It's a difficult
Overall.
road to walk. I know you have a question, Carolyn. So it's difficult. And those relationships, again, are relationships that we have to carefully navigate
Hmm.
in how you do it. And you have to set a firm foundation. And this is what I was saying about the Thomas clan. I believe that's something that mom and dad did, was to set that foundation that you look at these siblings and this parent, because we are actually a blended family. Oftentimes I don't think that way, like we
Ever.
had a blended family. It never
Yeah.
ever crosses my mind, because
No.
it was, the foundation was this is mom, this is dad, you are all siblings. There's no
Yeah.
half and step. Like that's how we were taught to think about the family. And so that foundation is what kind of sets, like like I see Tracy saying there in her
Hmm.
comments, that foundation is how it's set so that the family can grow and love and respect each other as a true family. And so it starts with the parents in that relationship to really uh, be able to set that. Thanks, Tracy. I had to work hard to love some of these siblings.
Oh my God, I'm so
Go
sick
ahead,
of
Carolyn. What's your question?
I'm just, playing
I'm
devil's.
just joking.
Do you believe that step parents should be able to discipline the children, like the children of the other parent?
I it depends on the age of the child. Like if those two came together and came together in the correct way, and like Sherry said, set boundaries and talked about how they want to raise the kids and everything,
Hmm.
then and that child is, under the age of I would say like 10, um, then yes, they should be allowed to discipline. But if that child is really pretty much has the mind of their own, like by the time they get to middle school, no,
You a
you need to
teenager?
defer. You need to defer to the actual biological parent. You know, go ahead and speak your piece, but then be like, okay, your mom is going to deal with this now. Your dad is going to deal with this now. But let them know that you are, you're not in agreement with what they just did or whatever, but let that biological parent actually provide the discipline.
Yeah.
With a little consultation on the side from you.
A little
Like I'm
consultation.
put my I'm gonna give my thoughts about how this should be handled, but you as that parent will let you administer that or handle it in that way. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Hmm. Yeah, Derek, me and Alonso had that conversation too before we got serious. Cause hey, you have
Okay.
to.
Hmm.
Yep. It's a
Yeah,
package deal here.
it
Package
is.
deal. Imagine at any
We
age,
can,
anybody disciplines Giselle. Don't talk to my daughter like that. Like that would be literally that would be a major for me, just me personally, in a
Right.
relationship. That's a major source of it's gonna be an issue.
Well,
Don't
could they
talk to my.
talk to you?
They can talk to me about whatever my child
Okay,
does. You're not gonna yell
gotcha.
at my daughter.
No, no, that ain't gonna happen. And she above
No.
10.
But I
but even
feel
when
that
she
way
wasn't above 10. Mm-mm.
Oh,
when she
well,
was
yeah, I don't
10.
think nobody want nobody yelling at their child.
That's what I
Somebody gonna
mean by
get slapped.
discipline. That's what I mean by discipline. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
You
I
have to
mean,
discuss those kind of things, even with your own biological children. You really need to discuss that when you go into a marriage about how you want to discipline and raise the kids,
yep.
because you want them to learn how to actually communicate. So maybe there shouldn't be all of this yelling and everything. So, but you have to talk about all of that, whether it's stepchild
Yeah.
or biological child.
Sam, every time we do the relationship series, we run
I,
over.
We
I was
went up.
just about to say, y'all, we're over time again tonight, and we're getting to a topic, the blended family, that we could do a whole show on, right?
Yeah,
And
We'll
I don't know, maybe we need to collaborate with Tracy because she has the blended family
she does.
forum and that whole thing, right? And we
Yeah,
need to collaborate with her and
this
let's
is
do
part
something.
2.
This is actually part 3 of relationships
Yeah,
because we started back before. So, but yes, we gotta we'll keep this conversation going. But for tonight, because I told y'all I got to get out of this conference room. I got to
yes,
go. We have to end our conversation here tonight. But listen, don't miss next week. We are down to the final interview of the sisters. Every sister has done an in-depth interview with mom, Carolyn Thomas. And so we are down to the final sister, who is Sherry Eileen, who has
Ooh,
not had,
not my
who has
middle name.
not,
she said,
oh, I'm
"Mama
sorry,
Miller, your
So,
whole government
Sherry,
name."
Sherry Neely. And so we are going to have her final interview next week. And then maybe we will see how we can collaborate to really talk about more about this relationships, especially with the aspect of the blended family, and how it's coming forward tonight. It is definitely a topic that needs further exploration and teaching and all of those things. So how you work to blend those families.
Hey,
And
Jan,
with that, oh,
can,
yes.
can I do the 30-second March Madness update that I didn't get to do on my thing?
Close us out. Close us out with the March Madness. Go for it.
Close you guys out with some more madness, okay, in the tournament this weekend. Yes, we can't stand the fact that Miami went through, but it's okay. We'll live with it, and UConn will go ahead and beat the crap out of them. Okay, so Final Four has been set. FAU South versus San Diego State University, Miami versus UConn. Okay, so throughout this thing, we were wondering, who is the Cinderella of the dance? Is it Princeton? Well, no, it's not Princeton. They could not take Creighton. Creighton was too much for them to handle. Okay, so the real Cinderella, who the shoe fit, Florida Atlantic University out in the Final Four. They actually defeated Tennessee in the Sweet 16 and then went on to take out K-State in the Elite Eight. And that was a feat within itself, because Marquise Noel will usually pull a magic trick at the end of the game, but he could not do it for his team, K-State, this time. I was really hurt for him, because Noel is really something else to watch on the court. Love that guy. Love him. He'll be in the pros, but we'll see him all the time. And also the other upset, number one overall, Alabama was actually put out by San Diego State. Who would have thought at all? And Gonzaga was the other upset by UConn. I could kind of see it coming, but I was hoping it wouldn't happen, because I love Gonzaga. But UConn, Gonzaga didn't have the answer for Jordan Hawkins on UConn, and their weapon, Drew Timme, UConn defense basically neutralized him. So that is your update for March Madness.
That was good. Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful update. Listen, everybody, we love you. We appreciate you. Y'all have a good evening, and we'll see you next week, 7 o'clock, right here for that interview. Bye, everybody.
Bye.